folks? Mega Brain Channel here, and today we're going to be talking about how Tekashi 6ix9ine is doing more for the black community than any black man inside the entertainment industry. And so with that, we'll be going over the conversation, the interview he had with Wack 100 and DJ Akademiks that spilled over into a clubhouse chat between Tekashi, Wack 100, and a rapper called 21 Savage from the UK. So as you guys know, the ones who watch my channel regularly, I don't believe in the street code. I think it's absolutely poison. Also a myth and a facade of something that was actually real inside, you know, old mobster Mafia days when integrity was detrimental to the health of an organization or the survival of an organization. So just briefly, I wanted to say the difference between the Mafia and the mob, like the Italian mob, even black gangs like the ones Frank White ran, all those more classic gangs that held integrity between them, amongst them. I wouldn't call it integrity, obviously, but it was a certain integrity amongst them that they needed to keep for the survival of the organization, which consisted of massive drug rings, sex trafficking, and a whole host of other black market means of getting money. And one person going to the police and telling could have meant whole communities collapsed. So if you tell on one Mafia fam and all of the daddies and the mommies go to jail who were a part of the functioning business of that organization, then you could see children thrown into poverty, you could see homes foreclosed, businesses shut down, everything taken away by the government. So it was a much more detrimental thing to have that code of the streets, no talking to the police no matter what happens, and that was respected on every side, because even your worst enemy, the phrase "I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy" would be thrown around so easily, because even between people that hate each other on opposite sides of the fence, they wouldn't do something that would destroy a whole community, even of their enemies, because they, it's their worst nightmare for their enemy to do it to them. And that's the difference between classic gangsters and gangsters from today who just watch old gangster movies and try to portray that in the streets. That integrity doesn't actually exist. It's just something that black niggas and black low-life niggas from the ghetto talk about to feel like they're somebody special. And I'm not giving any passes out on that one. That goes from the most gangster rappers to the most gangster dudes on the street that typically maybe kill people, maybe sell some drugs enough to be known in their neighborhoods. It doesn't stop at just the low-life thugs. It goes all the way up to them too, because they don't have any of that real integrity that existed back then. And even back then, there were still people that didn't hold up to that and ratted, but they were hated amongst the gangster world. They probably couldn't go anywhere inside the free world alone and survive after telling the police on their side or the enemy side. Here, these gangbangers that do it today, it's just a convenience. Like, if we get caught and you're younger than me, or you don't tell, I won't go to jail. If you don't tell, then you better not tell or you're a snitch. But if it's me, then all right, now the streets don't really matter that much. My life's a little bit more than that. Blah, blah. This is what it all ends up being in most cases in the streets when it comes to anything to do with street values and integrity and morality. There is none, absolutely none. Gangster rappers have been talking about killing people's grandmothers, they're kidnapping their kids, raping their wives, all kind of things for as long as I can remember. And it's hard for me to even listen to music that I classically loved because of that. And so I have to turn my brain off a lot when I want to go back and listen to old music that I grew up listening to, I have to turn my brain off and just say it's not real. It's not real, so that I can enjoy it. And in some cases, I can't ever go back to some of the music that I used to listen to. So the streets are fake. Troy Ave has snitched. 50 Cent has snitched. Snoop Dogg has snitched. Who else is it? Jim Jones is apparently an informant. 6ix9ine is a snitch. The snitch is just, I mean, in reality, in the life that I grew up in, and on this stage of hip hop, snitches are just running rampant because, like I said, snitching is a integrity. Street values and integrity is a convenience for the people that could go free if somebody else holds that street integrity, but it never applies to you if you're the one that's supposed to keep that street integrity. And for the few silly dudes that went to jail and did some time and come home and get to live to tell about it, they'll walk around standing on that for the rest of their lives, but they probably wouldn't go through it again. So even they don't get any special treatment from me. That being said, this is why black men are some of the worst, low life, low value people on earth, because we have a whole segment of our community that thinks infusing the street life with actual manhood is a real thing, and it's not. But they can't get it. Their brains are too fried. They're too far gone. They think that being a hustler and have men of a certain code, men of a certain morality, stupid, dumb nigga talk. They think that is a part of being a man, when in actuality, any real man is looking at them like a cancer and looking at them in pity, looking at them like they're stupid, and just wishing that they could smarten up and become better people. Because a real man is thinking about building communities, teaching our youth how to survive as they grow older, teaching them real morals and integrity. Is like being a man or a woman and knowing your place inside a relationship or a community. I mean, the lines are blurred a lot because the system, the state, is trying to, reverse roles almost, turn men into women and women into men. But that's what a real man would do. Just being a builder and a backbone inside his community. It has absolutely nothing to do with street code, that silly madness bullshit. So I know I went off on a rant, but I still want to kind of get into this Tekashi Whack 100 thing, because Tekashi, the reason I'm saying he's doing more for the black community than most black men is because he's ringing the alarm to the fakeness, the absolute fake world that gangsta rappers portray inside their music videos and on their records. He's exposing all of that to be fake through his real life experience. This is a Mexican kid that grew up inside a black neighborhood, and he holds the same street, well, he held the same street morals and code for a short period of time with his run with a blood gang in New York. As funny as that sounds to say, even in 2021, but he experienced the loyalty, the morals, the integrity of the men that were supposed to be his comrades, and what he found out was that it didn't exist at all. His friend, one of his closest partner that he came into the music industry with, was sleeping with his his daughter's mother, which was basically his wife at the time. He found that out. He found out that his partner was also taking most of his money and giving him less of it, while he was giving his partner, that apparently was sleeping on the floor before they started doing business together. I believe his name was Shotty. His other partners inside the music business that were also a part of his gang were plotting to kill him because he wasn't coming off enough of the money from the work he was doing. So they wanted more of the money, one of his partners was stealing money, the other partners weren't getting enough money, and those partners were going to murder him because they weren't getting enough money. So all around, there was no morals, integrity, or loyalty to this one kid who was bringing in all of the money, all of the wealth. And these guys are a part of a gang with Jim Jones, the rapper, who for some reason QueenzFlip is always doing damage control for. But they were a part of this guy's gang who was getting major money in the early 2000s. This guy was getting paper. Let's go over some of the things QueenzFlip said. QueenzFlip said Jim took care of his people. Well, on the contrary, there are multiple Dipset and Blood Gang members that said Jim Jones wasn't taking care of people. Apparently, Shotty was sleeping on floors. Stack was living in the hood because Jim Jones wouldn't give him enough money to pay for his own place and offered him to come be Jim Jones's roommate. And that's Stack Bundles, who was damn near a celebrity himself because people loved his music. I listened to a lot of his music too, back in the early 2000s or the mid 2000s, better to say. Some guy named Mel Matrix was apparently living with his baby's mother. So these people were obviously not being taken care of, and there are other Dipset members who say the same thing. Max B's in prison right now because he was apparently not being taken care of either while he was writing Jim Jones's best album to date, Hustler's Palm. Apparently he was making so little money that he had to try and rob somebody, ended up killing that person, and is now doing pretty much life in jail. So I mean, we can go down a list of people that were not being taken care of allegedly. I'm not gonna act like I know it for a fact, but there's an opposite to that. But QueenzFlip will talk to you about it as if it was factual. And then QueenzFlip goes on a tangent about how Jim Jones was independent. He wasn't getting that much money because those were their old days and there wasn't that much money back then. But on the contrary, Dipset was, I know that was Cameron's record label generally, but that was on Def Jam Rockefeller Records. Jim Jones was on Koch Records. At what point was he independent? Because he was getting record deals back then, and he definitely wasn't independent. Also, on the contrary, back then when CDs were still selling, they was making money. There's more money in CDs selling than there is in the streaming stuff. Like selling hard CDs for $15, $16 to $20, depending on where you're getting your stuff from, is definitely bringing in more money. The events were the same. You're still selling out stadiums. You were more likely to sell out stadiums back then. You were more likely to go platinum, double platinum, triple platinum back then also. And there was no 360 deal. So for you to be saying that there's more money today when you get a 360 deal in every single thing that you make money on, your record label gets to take a portion of it, more than likely the majority of it, that's absolute bullshit. So I call bullshit on you trying to come to the rescue for somebody who's not even trying to speak for themselves. He goes on to say, oh, Jim Jones brought people on tour with him. Yeah, every rapper brings people on tour with them. It's called protection at a cheaper cost than renting security, 500 security guards for every state that you go to. Just bring some dudes from the buildings on your street and you got a whole entourage of security with you for the entire 20 city tour that you're going on. I wouldn't necessarily call that taking care of people, because more than likely he probably bought people shoes, brought people food, and if they were lucky they probably got some jewelry out of the deal. That is not taking care of people. Was it a good experience for the guys? Probably, but if they got home and they had to go back to their mother's houses or their baby's mother's Section 8 house, then we don't consider that being taken care of. Ultimately, his friends still had to do crime to make money because they weren't being put on inside the music business. And the difference between him what he did and what Tekashi 6ix9ine did was he gave people legal money so that they could build for themselves. Obviously, these dudes got their money and they went and bought Lamborghinis. They went and got gold and tried to floss because they see the dudes inside the rap videos do it and they want to mimic that. Listen, I can't really blame them. They're brainwashed and that's what they think they're supposed to do. But they still turned on the person who gave them that money because they just wanted more. They just figured, hey, we just, our reputation of the Bloods is getting you popping. It's not your music. It's not you at all. It's us. For some reason, they think that why his popularity went through the roof. I tend to disagree. Obviously, he had some street cred by having the Bloods with him, but I don't think his music would have went any different if he, did that one video with everybody jumping crazy and then we never saw them again. So, I don't know. I mean, that's arguable, I guess. One of the big ones that I wanted to talk about was the fact that Tekashi said Jim Jones put a hit on him. Generally, I mean, he didn't actually say I'm putting a hit on Tekashis 6ix9ine, but he sat on the phone, gave one of his underlings directions on what they should do to basically kill 6ix9ine. Jim Jones' underlings attempt to carry out the hit. They all go to prison. Jim Jones doesn't go to jail. And QueenzFlip is trying to make the case that he didn't, the guy that Jim Jones was directing to go and put the hit on the guy didn't do exactly what Jim Jones told him to do. So that he's not implicated into that. You don't get to go to jail because you was on the phone telling somebody what to do if they didn't do exactly what you told them. It's the most ridiculous, stupid shit I ever heard in my life. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just telling you exactly how I feel. And Tekashi 6ix9ine is not sugarcoating any of this. And he's letting the world hear it. And everybody talks about, what about the kids that are influenced by him? He's putting the fact that the streets are poison right front and center for the kids to see. He's showing the kids every reason why they shouldn't be inside the street life because of the disloyalty, no integrity, no morality, and the fact that he went through it all firsthand and all his fans watched the whole thing play out is just an even more powerful reason why kids would be led inside a more positive direction, away from all of that, because now they can see the story from themselves of somebody that tried to be inside the gang life and follow the codes of integrity, loyalty, and morality by lifting up his fellow gang members, giving them all money, not leaving anybody else out, trying to uplift them so that they could be their own masters, and they still did everything. They still did the worst of everything to him. Slept with his wife. Like, they couldn't even just steal his money. They had to sleep with his wife. Tried to kill him. Stole his money. And then everybody gets mad at Tekashi 6ix9ine when he says, well, fuck them, I'm telling on everybody so I can get out. It is insane. And then, what's the worst thing is the music industry, the entertainment industry as a whole. They acted like ratting was a bad thing. So listen, they all took him off their services. They wouldn't let him use bundles to sell his records so that his numbers could come in lower. But they let Travis Scott and Nicki Minaj and everybody else do it. But they didn't let Tekashi 6ix9ine. The message that the entertainment industry sent to the black community was snitching is bad. That's the worst thing that came. The worst revelation that I got out of this was the entertainment industry was colluding with the feeble, low-life minds of black people in the ghetto, and fueling the thought that cooperating with police to get criminals off the streets of black neighborhoods. Black men are some of the most low-life, feeble-minded, gullible idiots on the planet. And that doesn't go for all of us. There is a segment of us who, like I said before, do want a community build, do want to be there for families, do want to train young men and women how to, find their place in this world in a legal manner that doesn't infringe on anybody else's life. We still have to deal with these guys. Tekashi 6ix9ine is putting it out there front and center for the youth to see why they shouldn't be taking part in any of this because of the life that he lived and what he survived. I think that is commendable, and I think that he's doing much more of a service to the black community than anybody inside this gangster music bullshit culture that they're trying to still be men of a certain code, men of a certain integrity, all that dumb shit. Cut it out. No, there's nobody looking at you and saying, yeah, that's a stand-up guy right there. You know what I'm saying? Not anybody that has 2 cents to rub together, 2 brain cells to rub together. It doesn't matter how much money these demons give you in the entertainment industry. That doesn't make you a man, and it doesn't make you somebody of integrity, obviously. I'm going to leave this video right here. I know this was mostly a rant, but this is a very serious topic. As funny as it may be when I talk about it sometimes, this is a very serious issue. There are people dying in the streets every day because of these men that talk about these fake ass, excuse my language, values that they hold, and none of them hold them. They're just talking. They just watched a lot of Scarface and The Godfather. Every rapper on earth used to say that Scarface was his favorite movie back in the 90s. It's a joke. These people are a joke. They might shoot you, they might do something to you, but in the larger scheme of things, they're a joke. They're a joke to the people that give them the money that they have. They're a joke to the people that are watching them. And they're probably a joke to a lot of the closest people around them. As Tekashi 6ix9ine found out, even Shotty found out, a lot of people found out, because even Jim and his friends were calling Shotty a roach or something like that. So they were all enemies that were acting like loyal friends, loyal comrades. And that's why I'm glad Tekashi 6ix9ine is exposing all of it. I don't consider him a snitch. I consider him a valuable asset to the black community, and I hope he continues on. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to end this video here. Get in the comments, let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.
Back to reality, break through the looking glass. What you looking at? Rude, what you looking at? I ain't looking at you, sir, I'm looking past. I gotta be mean, cause nice guys finish last. And I'm about to have a birthday bash. My life's backstage and you don't get no pass. All kind of women I get, I just don't brag. And no charges filed by any pussies that I grab. Laugh when they condemn me.